prior to the meeting or during the meeting to please come up to the mic and make your comments. And do that by calling out your name and what subdivision you live in. Our minute taker now is taking minutes remotely, and she needs the microphone to enable her to be able to know who's speaking. So that'd be most helpful. I will also ask the board members that make motions or second those motions to please weigh in with their names also. Say, I so-and-so move that, and so on. Thank you. That'll help the system a lot. And with that, I'm going to say that the first person who signed up is Debbie Baker. Debbie, you want to come up, please?
Hi, my name is Debbie Baker, and I live in Meadow Park. I'm reading a letter on behalf of another resident.
Okay, I'm going to remind you that you have 3 minutes also.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, thank you.
This is regarding online voting managed by a third party. And be aware, I am reading this on behalf of someone else. Sherry McGee and I were...
This is an agenda item.
It is an agenda?
Yeah.
I thought it was not.
Yeah, it is.
E-voting is an agenda
Am I
item
not to read
today.
this now?
Yeah, wait until that time comes up. It probably will make it all gel. I suspect I know what is going to be said. Okay? Thank you.
Okay.
Next up is Mr. Bernier.
Hello, Joe Bernier in Lakeview. First of all, just a quick housekeeping thing. The board minutes for March are actually March 23rd of 2000, not 23rd, of 23 are the ones that are on for March 24th on the website. I'm sorry.
That's that. So you're saying the board minutes on the website are
Yeah.
March of 23 instead of March of 24?
Yes.
Well, those are annual meetings. We didn't have a board meeting in March. We only have an annual meeting in March.
Okay.
And those haven't been approved.
Moved down and
Yeah, we'll put a
whatever.
note in there.
It was just confusing.
Those are approved at the next annual meeting, sir. So 24s will be...
Well, it just goes February 20. It goes February 24 to March 23 to April 24.
That is correct.
So maybe that should be
Because
down
at the
at the
next
23.
meeting, at the next annual meeting, when you get your ballot, you also vote for approval on those minutes. So that won't be updated until...
So there's no
next
March
year.
meeting like Karen said.
There is a meeting.
Okay.
It's an annual meeting.
Okay, so those minutes aren't anywhere to be found?
They're not approved yet. No, they've
Okay.
been approved
All
at
right.
the next
Cool.
annual meeting.
All right.
You vote on them as a homeowner.
Okay. Sorry, it was just confusing me when I heard that.
Yeah, we'll
Okay.
put a note in there. I
Okay.
think what you're saying is right. It's confusing because it's out of date order.
Mhm.
We can just put a note in there.
Right.
Okay.
And then the other, one thing I want to talk about today is I need some help. Karen and I have been dealing with an issue for quite a while, and it's the community path that's part of my lot that goes to the community center from Terra Lane. And I would like to figure out how to have this on as an agenda item so that the community can speak. I know a lot of people have come in here and spoken about this path. We actually submitted a what do you call this?
Petition.
Petition about the path, but it's never been recorded. And when I tried to have it on the agenda last time, which was over 1.5 years ago, it was put in an executive session, so nobody was allowed to talk about it. And it just seems to be an ongoing issue that has several simple solutions to it. And I would like to figure out how to get it on the agenda item in front of you guys, in front of all the homeowners as well, so we can discuss about it and get somewhere with this. I've talked personally to the city. The city does not want to maintain the path. It's an emergency vehicle easement.
When was that conversation?
The last conversation I had with them was about 8 weeks ago.
Okay.
Mr. Gary Lopez is the person I've been dealing with down at the city about that. He even conferred with the fire, I don't know if it's the fire chief or fire captain, whoever dictates the use of an emergency vehicle easement. He said, I can drive my truck across it, that's all we care about. So I really would like to find out how to get this on the agenda so that the board members can take some action about it, because unfortunately, board members were never allowed to take action about this. Thank you very much. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Please give me some instruction.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Burnett.
My comment on that is the reason it went into executive session is we had legal counsel on that. Legal has written a letter to the city of Peoria. If Mr. Bernier has talked to the city in the last 8 weeks, I think the letter probably went
after that.
It was after you spoke with them. So the association attorney has written a letter to the city saying, per the plat, you have responsibility and maintenance in this. So as we can, we'll follow up with the city, obviously.
Right. And to see if the city has replied to Jessica in any way, our attorney also. See what that status is. That's why I asked you when you spoke to the gentleman down at the city, because I have a feeling our letter came after that, which identified the city's responsibility in maintaining that area. So,
I'd still like to get it on the next agenda.
okay, I would like to talk to you about that a little bit more, because
It's gone as a legal matter.
yeah, it's gone into legal. Well,
They didn't go into legal for the community to stop and take care of it.
well, at this point, I think that it needs to play out between the city and yourself, sir. So,
It has.
to put it on the agenda, the board, we went to the attorney to find out what our responsibility was, and she wrote the letter. So, can we let it play out a little bit longer?
A year and 9 months is long enough.
Well, the letter from the attorney is within the last month.
We'll follow up and see where we're at. Is there something to present in an open meeting? Absolutely.
Yes, if we can put it on an open meeting agenda, certainly. I think it would be great for the community to understand everybody's position and maintenance responsibilities. I think that would be great, personally. Okay? We'll be back with you, Mr. Whitman, in other words. Oh.
I just wanted to interject that I also stood up and asked a question about it. I think before you, I can't quite remember if it's before or after, but it was within 2 months of each other. So the community is curious, if nothing else, about that easement and why it's blocked.
Okay. Okay, that's a great point.
And there's a lot of false information going around.
Yes.
Yes, there is, sir. Yes, there is. So, it probably is good to have it aired in the open. Okay, the next person to speak is Vince Lodato. Mr. Lodato, please.
Vince Lodato from Climbers. 2 thank yous I have. One to, I guess, Mike Green's committee that did the drainage ditches here with the rocks and all that stuff. Beautiful. I meant to say it last meeting. And it's really nice pulling off of Union Hills and looking at that. So thank you for that. And then to the HOA for redoing the courts on the east side of the pickleball club. They came out fantastic. The new nets are great, so we really appreciate all that.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. Okay, I'm going to ask that everyone stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll ask Secretary Allen to please confirm the quorum.
Pursuant to Article 4, Section 7 of the bylaws of Westbrook Village, quorum is 1/2 of the number of directors. They're announced early, so constitute quorum. We have a full board here today, and so I declare we have a quorum.
Very good, thank you. Review and correct and approve the previous month's minutes. May I have a motion for approval unless there's corrections?
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Thank you, sir. Any corrections or discussion?
Yes, page 2. Under the LRB, I do not recall Mr. Davis making that motion. Mr. Davis is not on that committee. I chair that committee. That motion probably came from me.
Yes.
Thanks anyway, Tim.
Okay, Jody, did you hear that?
I did.
Jody?
Yes, I did.
Okay, very good. Okay, with that, anything else? I'll call for the vote. All in favor of the minutes as corrected, please say aye.
Aye.
Raise your hand. Let's raise our hands for a vote. Okay. Anybody opposed? Okay, very good, thank you.
And who made that motion and seconded it?
Yeah, Mike Green seconded. Did you make the
Tim
motion?
Davis.
No, Tim made the
Tim
motion.
made the motion.
Tim made the motion this time.
Yes.
Okay, very good, thank you. Okay, on to the treasurer's report. Steve?
The treasurer's report for the month ending April 30th, 2024. General operating funds. The general account, that's for money used to run this place on a day-to-day basis. Cash and CDs on hand at the end of April, $3.3 million. For the full year 2024, we are forecasting total revenue of $3.3 million, of which $3 million comes from our homeowner annual assessments. Budgeted expenses for 2024 are $3.3 million, with $125,000 expected to transfer to our reserve fund. That's been budgeted in the operating, that's left over at the end of the year, we moved that to the reserve fund. That's how we've been building up the reserve fund here. Through April, our revenue and expenses are in line with the budgeted forecast. However, we continue to monitor expenses and expenditures and experience higher pricing, as we all have, in products, labor, and availability. In addition, there remains a large unknown as to what lie ahead with regards to home sales, interest rates, and what's going to happen in the overall economy in 2024. That takes care of operating. We'll go to the reserve. This is money we use for major repairs here. Cash and CDs on hand at the end of April were $4.2 million. In 2024, we're forecasting revenue of $782,000. Revenue comes primarily from new homeowner preservation fees, with $125,000 transferred from operating to the reserves. interest last year of 24,000. We'll see if that holds true this year. Reserve fund expenditures budgeted for the year are $1.142 million. Ongoing expenditures remain planned for the perimeter wall repair, painting, lakes complex asphalt replacement, and of course the fitness center architect. Other normal infrastructure repairs and replacement and expenditures will be addressed as needed. And before we get away from that, there is a rumor floating around that there's going to be a special assessment for the fitness center. That is a giant room. There is going to, as far as right now, there's no special assessment coming for the fitness center update. We will self-fund that, as we have self-funded other projects in the past. These financials will be available at the Westbrook Village Association Administrative Office anytime after noon tomorrow, Karen?
Correct.
And you may view them if you call and make an appointment with Karen. Any questions? Sil?
Just a question on that interest revenue. Are you guys investing in CDs?
Yes.
Okay. Are they paying about 4 or 5%?
You're in the ballpark.
I'm in the ballpark. Are you investing about $3 million?
You mean how much?
Investing in CDs is about $3 million?
Yes.
Okay. 4% of $3 million is like $150,000.
Correct.
Okay. And you're forecasting 24,000?
That, because of that last year before interest rates went up, correct.
All right. Well,
Year-to-date still is 48 already, so
it's already at 48.
we've exceeded our budgeted amount.
Okay.
I think that's where you were headed.
Conservative to say the least.
Is that where you were headed?
Yeah, you're light by about 100,000. But that's okay, that's good. I don't think interest rates will dip very much over the next 12 months, but anyhow, just clarifying that.
Discussions at Ways and Means, that's exactly what we've been talking about, is who knows what the Fed's gonna do, if they do anything. I mean, you read one report, yep, they're gonna make a move. Oh, no, they're not gonna make a move.
Yeah.
And I just read the last report now, they're thinking they might not do anything till the end of the year, but who knows, that's 8 months away.
Well, if they do anything, it'll be a quarter point here and there.
That's
So
what,
usually, those CDs will easily earn 4% for the
yeah,
full year.
yeah. Four seems to be a pretty easy number to get.
Right.
We've been at 4.65, and the recent ones that the Ways and Means agreed to that we got was a 5%.
5 is good.
Yep,
5% of 3 million is going to be somewhere in 150,000.
Yep.
Right.
that's what we're hoping for.
Okay.
We'll see what happens. Thank you, Sil.
At this point, we need a motion to accept the budget, the April 2024 budget as presented, subject to audit.
I move the budget report subject to audit.
That's Mike Green. And may I have a second, please?
I'll second.
Max Allen. I would like to say, before I ask for the vote, if you have any questions on the financials, I urge you to attend the Ways and Means meeting. You will find it a very intimate and casual atmosphere. You can ask any of your questions there. You will find you get your answers at that meeting. So please put that in your calendar. It's the last Wednesday of the month usually, if you're interested in our financials. Okay, I'm going to call for the vote to approve the budget. All in favor, please raise your hand.
Aye.
And that was unanimous, Jody. Thank you. Unfinished business. Facilities usage reports on pages 14 to 16. Anybody have any questions or comments? Anybody in the audience?
Maybe we're still having a problem with the computer not being up. Karen, the staff is coming over. I volunteer, and I also bring the newspaper 7 days a week, so I'm probably in more than most people. And they're very diligent about coming over I don't know if it's every 2 or 3 hours, but in the meantime, it's down. On my shift on Friday, there were 2 women and myself that couldn't log in, couldn't swipe. And so it's understating the library numbers significantly. I think.
So is it timing out, Sandra? Is
Yes,
that what it's doing?
yes.
So Susan, we just addressed that, didn't we?
Yeah, but it's just part of the software.
It still times out? I think it was an hour though, that it was not timing out.
It used to, when it first came, it was like 15, 20 minutes, but all of our computers were timed out.
If they don't get used, they
About an hour.
time out to not burn the screen.
So since
It's at an hour, and if nobody's touched it or used it, sometimes in the summer, it will time out.
And I'm the first shift on Friday, so it would have been
Overnight, it didn't
overnight,
get.
so it wouldn't be up, and then the people start coming in at
Yep.
8 or so.
Yeah.
But I would love to have that addressed because I think the numbers would catapult.
It's disappointing that nobody's using it more than once an hour. It means people aren't swiping if they should.
That's what it is. They're not swiping, it's just coming in.
Yeah. We'll look into it some more. But we think we maxed out the timing on it.
Right, the other thing that I've mentioned once before is the remote access, so that you can watch it and bring it up remotely. You don't have to walk over to bring it up. I mean, I was doing that remote access back in the, I don't want to hold understate, maybe 90s or 2000.
Yeah.
I could remotely access my work computer from home. And so we certainly should be able to do that. And people can still come over, check the building, but
Yeah, we'd have to see if that.
Individual workstation.
Yeah, to make it not fall asleep. We'll look into it. It's a great suggestion. We've had IT working on it. We maxed it to an hour, so.
But each station is
Seeing
it's not sort of like the,
What about the location?
it's not on the network.
Right.
Because it's,
you get an all-in-one computer so that you don't have to get, underneath it. That would make it more accessible if you wanted to give up some access to bring that up, just that one app. I don't know about that.
Is this the only location that appears to be around?
Yeah, because it's unmanned and staff isn't working on it and it times out, and if people aren't touching it or swiping it, the individual workstation goes into a safety mode. So we'll look at all the options. We'll have Lori and Tom take a look at it and see what they can do.
but it's not the computer, right? I thought it was computer managed.
Okay.
Is it computer managed or the actual computer?
I don't know. We'll have to look into it. Yeah.
Thank you for bringing that to our attention. We'll have a look at that.
Thank you.
Okay.
Excuse me, before you move on.
Yes,
could you, flash the other 2 pages of the usage report? They went a little fast for me.
Did you
Can we
hear?
go back?
I can't hear. What's that?
Yes, for the last 2 pages of the usage report.
So there's the links.
Thank you.
Let us know.
You do a great job in the library, Sandra. For someone who uses it
Go to
constantly,
the next page.
you guys do a great job.
That got it for you? Okay.
So Amy, we're seeing a huge increase in, I'm looking at the pickleball area right there. It looks like you have a huge increase not only in usage and specifically in the guests being utilized this year. It looks like how we're monitoring that it looks like that's improving. Vince, do you have anything to say on that?
On the guest part?
On any of that usage?
Well, I think the guest part, the numbers are being driven because people are now checking in their guests. It's that simple. So, yeah, it's been improved.
I appreciate that they're being checked in. Thank you. Thank you to the group. Okay.
So just for everybody's knowledge, these get posted within a week as soon as the board approves these. So they are on our website. If you go to westbrookvillage.org, Association, General Documents, Facilities Usage Report. They're there from 22, 23, and through May of 24. These will go up within probably by the end of the week. So they're all available.
Karen, I want to compliment you on that. I looked the other day and I even last year, didn't know it would be months behind. And I pulled it up and I went, oh my gosh, that says May.
They're all here.
I was like, and I couldn't believe it was there because May wasn't over. You know, you have to have it for a board meeting.
It's what we approved in May, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank
Anything
you for
else?
cloud storage.
Yes.
Thank you. Anything else? All right, then we'll move on to the Zoom meeting presentation. It's in your binders. Oh, no, it's not. There's a presentation that's to be had. So, Karen, are you going to share with that?
Sure. Okay, last month we had a homeowner presentation on Zoom, and the board tasked the staff to look into this. So as a quick background for the HOA, April of 2020 we opened our first Zoom account. We use Zoom meetings for probably about 19 to 20 months regularly for all of our committees, our board, and even an annual meeting. So we're very familiar with Zoom. It worked very well. We still to this day already have a Zoom account. We use it for education. Our staff takes classes, and we have that ability. We did downgrade it to the $15 a month program, which is the minimal. So that being said, we looked into different programs that are out there, and we want to just kind of show you what we found out that might work for the association. So what we want to do is identify the key benefits for the HOA, how virtual meetings work, how they can enhance communication and participation. We want to access all the features, pricing, and capabilities. Zoom Pro is the one that we currently have. Zoom Business is a little bit better, and they've just given us a better price on that one, so I'm going to suggest if we do this, we go with Zoom Business because it's a wider range of users, and they're doing most of their enhancements on Zoom Business versus Zoom Pro. I'm predicting Zoom Pro might go away someday. Security and usability, Amy referenced last month about security issues. They've assured us they've addressed all those issues and they won't be having those types of issues in the future. Let's hope so. Virtual meeting platforms versus in-house recording. We're currently doing in-house recording. We're improving on that every month, but that's one of the options that we can look at. So, Virtual Meeting Solutions offers our homeowners association accessibility for part-time residents and or homebound residents, remote access for our minute taker, recording and posting of meeting videos to the website. So, the communication liaison has worked with Zoom, a new feature that they allow us. We used to struggle with the storage because every 30 days the meeting would be replaced with the next video. By going to Zoom Business and having our YouTube channel, we can now download the video within an hour after the meeting, convert it, and put it on YouTube and put it on our website. So it's easily converted. They've improved a lot since 2020. So we don't have to worry as much about that cloud storage like we used to. Benefits of virtual meetings. Remote participation allows members to join from their home. Inclusivity accommodates members who may have mobility issues or transportation challenges. Convenience and flexibilities. This gives us the ability for recorded sessions, access recordings of meetings on the website quicker and easier. Cost savings. Well, it's actually going to cost the HOA more money, but the reduced travel costs for our minute taker. Engagement, interactive tools, utilize features like chat, polls, and Q&As to keep members engaged. These are some great features. We're very familiar with these, especially Susan and I. We take a lot of classes and they take polls and you can do Q&As and things like that. And that will work in some of our meetings, but it won't work in all of them. Communication, real-time updates. Videos are uploaded to the website in a much timelier manner than they used to be. We put in new batteries. Pricing and value. So we compared the GoToMeeting, we compared Zoom Pro, and then we've been working with Zoom Business Plus. For the $7 a month more, Business Plus will give us the 10 to 250 users. Zoom Pro is already integrated with our system. It integrates with Outlook. It'll integrate with people that use Outlook calendars. GoToMeeting can also do this, but we have more experience with Zoom Pro. And we're pretty close in price on the 3 different options that we have. So this goes in a little bit further detail. It talks about how many hours. I hope we never have to have a 30-hour meeting. Goodness gracious. Up to 150 on the Zoom Pro. That's why if we go with the Zoom Business, we can get 250 users. Okay? Annual meeting is the time that we're going to need those higher numbers. We've done 2 of our annual meetings via Zoom. So that would be a benefit for us. Screen sharing, waiting rooms, meeting lock, password protection, all of this is really important to an association. You don't want, you're attending from your personal computer, and when you get these people that are invading your private information, the association doesn't want to be liable that somebody's computer gets hacked. Zoom has learned the hard way, and I think that they're top of the line right now for their encryption. The polling is great to have. Whiteboard, it's nice to have the Zoom whiteboard. We use that quite a bit. Google Workspace, you can go into private meetings if we needed to hold an executive session and a board member is remote, you can do that, but executive sessions, as we know, are not open to all residents, it's board only. Google Workspace, Microsoft 365. These are the platforms that we use and that we're very familiar with. We did struggle a little bit with the Zoom support in the beginning. As we all know, April and May of 2020, they were overwhelmed just like the world was with the pandemic that we were being forced with. Over the last month, getting customer service, getting answers, working with them, it is light years better. Cloud recording and storage, again, Zoom Pro, 1 gig per license, $10 a month additional, 30 gig added cloud storage. But if we can download these meetings, get them on the website, we don't have to pay for extra cloud storage. They now have a way to convert those. We can use them on our YouTube channel, and we can store them on our network. Okay? And again, the business takes us to the 250 versus 100. Security features, a big important part, again, data protection for the individuals. This is on the user end. This is not on the HOA end. This is all of you logging into your personal home computer, going through the Zoom website. There has been breaches of security there. Again, they're assuring us they've taken care of that. Everything is password protected. There's meeting locks, security. Session security is really important because our HOA meetings are not open to the public. They're open to residents only. Okay? Host controls, participation management. Both platforms provide extensive host controls, allowing hosts to mute, remove participants, grant co-host privileges, and manage participation interactions to maintain order and security during our meetings. Participation control is a big part of this. Zoom has a great waiting room. Once you get the link, once you've been verified as a homeowner, you get the link, you come into the waiting room. You are then invited to the meeting. When the meeting starts, you won't see all the little tiles up there with participants' faces. What you see is the board. Okay? That's the purpose of this. It's not, for those of you that ever use Zoom, somebody's face is going to be the size of that dot right there. The point of the meeting is to see the board members up here. Okay? We'll see that there's 42 participants down there, but up here will be the board meeting as well as the packet. Okay? So we can integrate all of that. Extensive host controls for managing participants, including muting, removing, and assigning co-hosts, attendee management. It's easy for a presenter and to control the viewership. User-friendly interface, wide adaption, quick setup. The meetings now have come a long ways in 4 years since we started this. Very moderate learning curve with Zoom. I've met with our communications liaison, and she's very comfortable with the Zoom versus the GoToMeeting, and I think that learning curve is going to be important for staff. Comprehensive features, a wide range of features that might require some time to master. I don't think it's going to take staff very much. Custom meeting links. The meeting links are great. We send them to you, to the residents. They've been known to do it on their phone, their tablet, their laptop, or their desktop. It's really user-friendly. The integration, again, goes with Microsoft Office 365 and your Google Calendar. When you get the link, you will be asked if you want it to be added to your calendar with a 30-minute or 60-minute reminder that the meeting that you signed up for is coming up. Support and training, again, Zoom has really improved their customer support. I think they're being challenged out in the world with some new technology, and they've learned their shortcomings and have improved on that. They have great libraries for tutorials, webinars, FAQs. The pros and cons of virtual streaming. We didn't spend a lot of time on virtual streaming because virtual streaming isn't as productive in this setting. We're better off to have the meeting, to have the ability to check in the residents. They raise their hands. They interact much better, and that's what Zoom was designed to do. And virtual streaming is very expensive. So pros and cons, again, we went through that. Limited access, delayed access. It's kind of a passive experience is how it's labeled. When you do either Zoom, Pro, Business, or GoToMeeting, it's more interactive, immediate. So it's a better user end. So my recommendation to the Board of Directors, if you would like to adopt a Zoom-type platform for the meetings, I would recommend Zoom Business Plus for the quantity of users, cloud storage, and improved visitor management features. Now, any of the software that I just reviewed is still going to take a hardware upgrade for this room. Okay? We can't just set a laptop right here and expect that laptop camera to get this wide angle, the audio, and the video. For those of you that have watched the video from last month, it has audio challenges, it has video challenges. So in talking to 5 Words Media, they would have to come in here, install a camera up by our projector, tie it into the speaker system, into the audio system, just like we have now. Jody's tied into the audio system via this black box. So we'll have more hardware in that cabinet. And they wouldn't give me a hard number until they come out, but they said it's $6,000 to $10,000 to upgrade this room to be able to have the video and the audio to make good recordings and best participation. As your general manager, I would suggest that we do a trial period of 6 months and review participation at that time. The reason we stopped doing the Zoom meetings is nobody was signing up for them. So we weren't Zooming them after the usership went down and we returned to in-person meetings. So, board, any questions?
I have a question.
Let's look at board first.
Yes, next.
Well, the period of 6 months, would we still have to make the $6,000 to $10,000 investment?
Well,
What
that's,
happens at the end of 6 months if we decide that it's not working?
so the question is that if we do the trial period for 6 months, would we still do the $6,000 to $10,000 upgrade? That's a great question. That's a board decision. To do it correctly, that hardware needs to be upgraded, and it's not what they call a Zoom room, but it's pretty close to a Zoom room. So my suggestion, yeah, Max, that's a hard question. That's up to the board.
But we do make that investment, whether we keep it or not.
Correct.
That's what you're saying.
Yep. Yep.
But it's my understanding that our taker of our minutes would prefer to see the Zoom.
Sure, she doesn't have to pay to travel here anymore.
Right. And in that, just for that specific point, I think that this is a value to our community. And I would encourage that investment.
The hardware investment?
Yes.
Okay.
Could that camera be used for anything else if you foresee any of that?
Sure. I mean, this assembly room has been dubbed the meeting room. By doing that, if the sub-associations needed to use it, if we needed to do presentations by architects, the room is not the biggest room for that. Town halls, this is not a good room for town halls. Yeah, we would use it for other things. That's the hard justification of the hardware.
So is it also transferable then, because you're talking annual meeting is not held in here?
Correct.
Town halls would not be held in here. Could that equipment be moved and integrated?
No.
So it's stationary?
If we were to tear the building down, we'd have to pull the hardware out and install it in a new room. But to move it, probably not. But it's a great question for the IT company for 5 years when they come out. How do we make this more portable for once or twice a year for town halls and annual meetings? You know, Sean might be able to climb up, take it down, and have brackets in the Lakes Ballroom, and he's really smooth with that kind of stuff. So that's a great question to see if we could make it portable.
So maybe part of the discussion is that we did a trial run with Lynette. We did that while you were in Seattle last week, was it? And I used a wide angle lens, and it could easily pick up a group like this, and we could do a trial run with that. Lynette, what do you have to say about it?
Well, I just want a clarification. So in order, so this expenditure of 6K to 10K is so you can get a camera to see all the board members in the same frame, right?
Oh, it's much more than that. It's audio and video to make the end result and participation much better. We could stick a laptop, and I agree with Tim. Did you put a wide angle on your laptop or on a video camera?
I had a tripod, and I set it like 20 feet away.
Yep.
And it picked up the entire room very easily to do that. And the sound quality was pretty good too, but you're right, it was not tested in this room. It'd be interesting to try to do that, but it was strictly from a laptop and a wide angle lens. That was it.
And the lens was on what, a video camera or?
The lens was was tied into my laptop, but it was on a tripod set.
Yep,
back.
so that's that other thing that we did that, yeah.
Yeah.
That's easily done.
So if we don't do that, we could participate with Zoom, but the board members would each be in their own individual frame as participants.
No.
That's how I've seen it used before, is everybody's in their own frame
Well, I've seen that done before too, where every board member has their own specific laptop in front of them, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is just if you want the sort of,
A Zoom room.
the Zoom room.
Yeah.
Upgraded, nicer.
Yep.
Yeah.
Audio and video is top notch. Is the board
Are we all done?
interested
Well,
in
I was
a
just gonna
laptop
say
in
that
front of you?
there are other potential needs for something like this, in that if, God forbid, we ever have some sort of local emergency, health, which we've had before, or weather, or whatever, with this, correct me if I'm wrong, with this setup, we would have the ability to send an email to our residents, inviting them to join us at a Zoom meeting of short notice, and discuss whatever relevant information we need to pass along to them, rather than trying to depend on emails or e-blasts or what have you.
Sure.
And to be able to do that might be a benefit, you know.
Sure, with a 48-hour notice, no problem.
Yep.
Yeah. Joy, did you want to?
Yes, I did. What about, is the ballroom already programmed for Zoom?
No, that's why we'd have to see if it could be portable.
Well, no, but what about moving our meetings and everything to the ballroom and having that, that program into the ballroom, and we just move our meetings to there?
So you want to move all 5 or 6 meetings a month to the ballroom?
Yes.
Okay. And then all the sub-associations, and then all of the ad hoc committees and things like that. We've gone away from that and brought all the meetings to the assembly room, so we can rent the ballrooms and we can use them for their main purpose.
I think there's like 27 meetings in here a month at least.
Between ad hoc, between sub-associations,
That would-
and then the 5
That would
HOA
really
ones.
tie up that ballroom.
And I know many clubs use their board meetings in here as well. So the ballroom would lose its purpose.
Well, one of the other things that we didn't mention is the fact that when you do Zoom meetings, it's not necessarily has to be video, so anybody with a phone or whatever, you're out there, you can dial in as well.
Absolutely.
So,
And we have that capability now, but to take it to the next level, yeah. I think the portability of the system is going to address a lot of this, and we need to know if the hardware with a half hour of labor can be portable. I think that's a great idea. Yes. Bill?
Well,
I'm sorry.
we, during COVID, the PAC had a Zoom account that we used for all of our meetings, and we maintained it following COVID, and the players have used it in some of the other groups. And the quality thing that you're talking is very important, because the one thing that we found when we were using standalone laptops was that the ability to pick up the conversation, especially if you're spread out like this, was extremely difficult. And then if those individuals who were signed in remotely, it was very difficult to hear them if they had questions or anything. It was almost impossible to hear things. So if you're going to do it, you do have to go with a system that has the technology to make it work. You know, regardless of the platform. And I've used both of them over the years. They're very similar. It's all what you get accustomed to using. The only thing that I normally liked about it meeting more was you always had a constant list that you could scroll through to see who was there, so that you might be able to anticipate, questions and things that might come up. But they're very similar.
Okay, yes, Debbie?
I think that this double Zoom thing would be highly beneficial going forward into the next millennium for this community. I know it's expensive, but there's lots of ways we could maybe offset that. My opinion is stop repairing that clock out there on Union Hills. I know 0 people who actually use it to tell them what time it is. My goal is to set it beside the clock, let it go, and then
Okay, hey, thank you. We needed a good chuckle.
I don't
Karen pointed out from the very beginning is that there's a lot of people that can't attend this meeting because they just don't have the ability to do so. And this brings a lot more people into the room. And I know there's been several times where people have said, hey, look, you know, you need to come to the meetings. And it's like, this is a great opportunity for really, I know it's $6,000 to $10,000, but I think it's money well spent.
Is there a way to survey how many people would like to be on it?
Sure, that's easy to do. We can send out an e-blast survey that asks residents that are on the e-blast list if they would participate in Zoom meetings. It's a great suggestion, Mike.
Right, and I want to say that this is a great format, but I have experienced Zoom for a lot of years in a different field that I'm involved with, and it doesn't quite do what an in-person appearance does. You can't see body language. It is lacking somewhat. That's all I want to say on that. You know, it's helpful to be seated here. You will get a lot more out of the meeting, I believe, if you can attend. It's just what I've experienced.
Now, would all the meetings be on Zoom then? Ways and means, rec, all that?
Well, again, that's up to the board because there's an expense in that. We now need a staff person that does this for all the board meetings, 5 meetings a month, you know, things like that, so.
Here's a question that kind of occurred to me. I wondered if we started with the board meetings, do people need to be checked in at every attendance of the board meetings, or would a one-time check-in?
No, unfortunately, per our governing documents, they would have to be verified as an active member in good standing of the association.
Okay.
We would post the link on the e-blast, they would click here, send us their information, then they get the live link for the meeting.
Okay.
And we were doing it 2 and 3 weeks in advance. We had more people lose the links, so we narrowed the time a little bit to be a little bit closer to the end of the meeting.
I think it's a great idea, and I like the idea that we're using Zoom because a lot of people are so familiar with it, and the board has used it for, sounds like many years. So I think it would be great. How soon can we do it? Because actually, with everybody going away now, it would be a perfect time. We could put the information out there. It's going to take a while to get everybody acclimated to it, but I like it.
So you had your hand up.
Can you clarify, Ms. Karen,
I'll try.
upload to YouTube was,
So
I would just be very concerned about the ability of non-residents or any creep on the street to get involved in our business.
Well, again, that's why financials aren't uploaded to the website. That's why much of the association information is not put out in an uncontrolled environment. This takes us out and does give us exposure still. Steve's treasurer's report and all of our financials are now to the public. You have an architect or you have a vendor that's coming to bid on a project and they see that we're very comfortable in our financials, what is that going to do to their proposals? So again, you have to be a little bit careful. And again, the format changes from Zoom to be able to put it on YouTube in that format, but then it's open to the public.
I mean, even beyond
On the website it is
like
too.
that, if you have one meeting where somebody just goes berserk or whatever, all of a sudden, you know, Westbrook Village is in the spotlight everywhere.
Sure.
I mean, a lot of bad things can happen
Sure.
if there's exposure, and I'm very hesitant about it.
There is that risk. And I think when we discussed doing this previously, it was a need versus a want during COVID, and it worked very well. But when people stopped participating in the meetings, we stopped, you know, doing it.
Excuse me, is there any way, why do we need YouTube?
YouTube is the format that manages the video. You have to have that format. It's not like a 2-minute video that we might take of our dog and then we want to upload it. This could be hour-long meetings, and that format has to be run by, Bill, you may know the name of that, the platform that actually controls the videos.
Well, they have a studio and some things underneath. It's like we post the video qualities each year, which is, you know, an hour and a half to 2 hours long, so that participants can view it and see how they did. And then we send them a link to that video because there are literally millions of videos on YouTube. And even if you go in and try to search for something, the odds of finding it are not great.
That's why it would be via our website, so residents don't search out in millions and millions of videos.
Is that the only way that we get storage on history?
Storage is kind of not an issue anymore, Max. We're more
Or
comfortable.
why do we have to use it?
It's the playing format. It's the streaming format of a long video. You have to have that platform.
Do all the other HOAs that use Zoom?
You have to have that platform. We could look at spending another $5,000 to $10,000 and buying a platform, but that's very unusual, and then you have to pay for your annual fees on that. We could look into it if that's something, but it's still going to be a public video when it goes on our website.
Yes, absolutely.
Until we lock down our website and start making it password protected for our members only, we are going to have this issue.
And
Other
why
HOAs
can't we
do
do
that.
that? Or
We can.
why can't we lock down a part of it anyway? Is it just the part that we can?
You can.
Ray, did you have something to say?
Aaron, I got the impression that you said that we stopped doing Zoom because there was low participation.
Zero participation.
Okay. What makes us think it's going to increase?
That's the key. That's the question of the day.
It was zero.
It was zero.
Okay.
It went from 125 at our annual meeting, maybe 20 at board meetings, and then it went for 4 months with zero requests of video, so why would we do it? I mean, why did we continue to do it then? And I think in the beginning, it's going to be high usage, but really, how is it going to level out?
And I see the need for certain individuals. You know, but even those individuals weren't using it. Okay.
Have you guys polled the other HOAs that are using Zoom and asked them what their experiences have been, what their challenges have been, and how they've gone forward from all of that?
Sure, absolutely. I do that on my regular meetings. It's really beneficial for architectural. That is the big thing that comes back from our near HOAs, is it allows vendors to come in and talk to the architecture, dial in and talk to the architectural committee. It allows a little bit more interaction that way. Most HOAs like it, but there's always the issue of security. There's no doubt about that.
I think that during COVID, they had an issue, Zoom had an issue with people getting into people's personal information, that has been corrected.
Right.
And I think it had to do with a Windows platform that was, oh my gosh, something like 1996 or something. It was very, very low. People with the older computers, but that's been fixed. The issue is that last month in April, the latter part of April, the state made it a requirement that we engage in that kind of stuff. I think it was April 23 that they changed the wording to required, but still, it's up to us to make that decision. But
and just so you know, we are within our compliance with that. This just takes it a step further.
Yes, we are within state guidelines.
Yep.
do we have any board members that have any objections to this?
We'll have a vote in a minute.
What do we do? It's the discussion phase.
Right. Okay, so I just had a question from Max. Max says, how do we do the video now? What we do now is that when we're finished, we'll stop that video. It'll go back to the communication liaison office. She will then download that video. She will then convert it to the YouTube format platform.
It's still YouTube.
Yeah, and it goes through the YouTube, and then once we get that live link back from YouTube, that's what we post on the website and the e-blast. It's about a 2-hour, it's easy to do. You just do it and walk away, and it does all.
Still, anybody can dial into YouTube.
Absolutely.
That is true, but it doesn't allow for interaction. If the audience members want to weigh in, which is valuable, recording in this fashion does not allow that.
Right.
So, just that differential. Yes, Norma?
Things is published on YouTube, our daily routine, so people can use that as a learning. And when we publish, you have the option of public or private. And if we select private and it only goes to your list of people that are getting it, then that eliminates that, so we don't end up on Instagram or.
Yeah, but I think the difference in that moment is once it goes to the website for people to view it, it's now no longer private. Even if it's marked private, you give them the link, which is no different than you sending me the email with those.
They can share it.
But we have 3,910 homes, and the churning of homes is pretty regular. That is starting to require some real staff time to input and maintain that. So that's another expense to consider.
Does the board believe this needs to be a secure part of our website?
Yes.
Still, would that ease your concern? Is that if we made a separate part of our website, that you had to sign into a portal to view the video? There would be frustrated people, I'll tell you.
What I remember is 3 years ago when we ended up on Fox News that some lady wanted to put a flag on her curb.
Yeah, right. And it went public and we had death threats. It was, yeah.
We were definitely the ogres of that.
We sure were.
Yeah.
PAC has, on their website, has a private section that we can only get to, PAC members can only get to the request.
Sure, we can do that on a section of our website.
Can't we put financials or any other private business that we don't want out there under that type of situation on our website?
That's kind of what I'm suggesting. We can do private portals that only certain information will go to, and that's a matter of setting up private portals, and everybody would have to request password and access to that private portal.
Ballpark of cost on that.
Oh, heavens. We'd have to go to vertical axion and break down the website. It would be a completely separate page, and it's going to be a couple thousand minimum. But is that the direction that we need to go? Many HOAs, my HOA website, I don't get to see anything until I log in. Minutes, financials, everything.
I think we're getting the cart before the horse. That we need first to determine whether we really have a need for this and whether people will use it and use it effectively. So I would like to make a motion that we, as you suggested, embark on a 6-month trial, say beginning September. There's lead time to set up and everything. And have a 6-month trial to assess whether or not people are going to use it, and secondly, what kind of refinements we have to develop in order to make it more effective and more secure. I would also suggest that at some point we consider some sort of trial run. And one session, it's not really a meeting, it's just an opportunity for people to come on, see how it works, fool around with it, and test it out.
I think it's a town hall session.
Yeah.
Really? That's the purpose of a town hall.
Right,
And
exactly.
we can work with our technology groups, if they will give Zoom classes to the community, and open it up for people to come in and learn how to do this. We did that in 2020. we allowed them just to come in and say hi and have trial periods and walk them through how easy it was to get logged in for the first time. It's always the first time is the most difficult. Paul?
Yeah, it just seems to me that you better ask if there's going to be any participation, because I don't think there's going to be much. That's just my thing, and you don't want to spend $6,000 to $10,000 for 5 people. We haven't had a good showing before. That doesn't completely negate it, but I think we ought to maybe ask to see what participation there would be before we spend.
I agree. We should get a survey out.
Yeah, got it. I'm gonna let Amy call, please. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I didn't see you, Ed.
Okay. Maybe just set up your wide angle camera here for the first 6 months.
Yeah.
Film the meetings, and at the end of the meeting, ask people to respond if you've seen this meeting, and just get a tally on it. That would be a good way of seeing how many people are looking at this.
We have about 20 people a week right now that are watching the board meeting from last month. Just so you know, we can see how many people clicked on that. But we'll have better tracking when we actually do the Zoom meetings, how many participants and how much access to that. But we could do a survey next week easily.
Why don't we do that first and come back in a month?
You have a
Continue on.
motion on the floor.
Yes, we do. That was Mike Green that made the motion, Jody. And may I have a second for that motion?
We're not done with the discussion phase, I don't think. Kevin has.
Well, we
his
can
hand up.
second the motion, please, Tim.
I haven't heard anything.
May I have a second on that motion? We're not getting a second for the motion.
Can we rehear the motion?
Jody, can you read the motion for us, please?
Y'all are killing me, you know. You have a motion by Mr. Green to embark on a 6-month trial period beginning September 1st, 2024 to determine the amount of usage and the refinements needed to make the system more secure, and further that a trial run be arranged via a town hall.
I don't remember town hall being part of the motion.
That is an edited motion, an amended motion that you mentioned there, Jody. The town hall was not in that. So is there a second to that motion? Okay, that motion failed.
I would move that we effect a survey within the next 10 days or so, or whatever time period, with the results being sent out.
And I think that we need to establish a threshold. You know, if 25 people say they'll use it, is that okay with us? Or how much usury of the thing do we think would be appropriate for us to make the investment in time and equipment?
That's another good question.
Okay, Mr.
Thank you. The question was posed earlier about other associations. Our secretary for this, keeping our minutes, had stated last month's meeting that this was the only association of 20, I think, that she handled, that didn't use Zoom. Zoom, she'd be able to look at the participation from every one of those 20. We could easily get an idea of how other associations who we've been using for some time, what kind of participation they get too, might give us an idea of what kind of participation we can expect, and whether it's worth the money.
Karen has that network of community managers that she ties into that would help with that information also. Debbie, did you have something?
I think something to note as well, the age demographic in Westbrook is changing a bit, and there are quite a significant number of younger people coming in that are used to Zoom, getting used to all this, and that survey might start skewing a little bit differently as people are aware that this might be an option to go with. So something to think about.
That is a fact that is pointed out regularly, that our age demographic is changing. And as the younger people are moving in, the older people are getting older. Except for me, I'm not that young. But,
Our average age is still 72.
yeah, we're still at 72. So that's kind of a statistic that gets skewed. So we aren't getting a lot younger. But thank you. Okay.
Max's motion?
Yes, Max's motion for a survey. May I have a second on that, please? I'll second it if nobody else will. I'll second that, Jody. And then may I ask that you raise your hand for the vote? All in favor of a survey being conducted for this initiative?
We're skipping the discussion phase.
Pardon me?
A motion was made, and then we need to discuss it, and they need to participate in that discussion.
Isn't that what we're doing right now?
No, we're voting on it.
We've been discussing
We
it for
have
10
been
minutes.
discussing.
You just made a motion on having a survey.
Okay. Who wants to weigh in on having a survey? Any board members first? Okay.
Traditionally, Karen, when we do a survey, haven't we been habitually disappointed in the amount of surveys that are returned?
Correct.
So, we send out 3,910. Traditionally, do we get back how many?
Well, in the LRPs and town halls, we could be lucky to get back 300, 400.
And what does it cost us to do a survey?
Very little now. Our constant contact does allow us to do surveys for minimal cost.
Okay, so we get returned less than 10%, and we're contemplating letting 10% of the residents here dictate to the other 90% what we're going to do. Do I have that correct?
It's kind of how it works. I mean,
Participation.
it's like the people that vote. We have 11, we barely make quorum all the time. We get 1,400 homes that vote. We have 3,910, Steve. So, and I don't have 3,910 homes that are on the e-blast.
No.
I think if you make it a short and sweet survey, you'll get a better response.
Correct.
Percentage.
That's no survey.
You
You
know,
haven't done an electronic
One
survey?
question.
This would be the first one, isn't it?
No, we've done it.
Electronic?
Yeah, we've done it for town hall before.
but make it short and sweet, boom. And so that people don't invest a lot of time.
Yes or no?
Can you do a text message survey?
No,
No?
no. Because that's a whole different setup. That's, we got to get people to sign up their phone number versus their email.
Okay, Jordan?
Karen, how many do you have on e-bus as far as?
4,150, I think, was last Friday.
So you got 4,100 people basically.
Sure, but many are two people in one
Right,
household.
right, but still, that's our range of
Yeah.
reaching out. Okay, all right, just wanted to know.
So this would be a survey sent out through an email, if I understand it correctly? And then would each household, each person get a vote, or is it usually just one per household? Because that makes a difference in your numbers too.
Yeah, at this point, the high level of our constant contact surveys, anybody that's on my e-blast would get the ability to answer that, then we could put it on an Excel spreadsheet and bring it to per household. Because that's how our voting system works, right? One vote per property.
Right, okay, and then just to touch on that, just a tad longer. So, you know, I know everybody's deciding if this is beneficial or not, and it's spending $6,000 to $10,000. My only comment is, we put the corn holes in, that was $50,000 to $60,000, and only 4 people used it last month. So we're spending a lot of money with that, and I don't mean to be rude, I don't mean that, but I'm just stating that this is something that the entire community could actually use at times, especially if the bird flu hit, COVID was rampant, you know, something dramatic that happened. So we would be more up to using a Zoom watching that opposed to, I'm just using Cornell as an example.
Okay. Joe?
I just want to comment as a community member, it's disheartening to read an email, frankly, 3 weeks after it was sent, to find out you could voice your opinion on a survey that expired 2 weeks ago. Unfortunately, there's a lot of us that travel for a living and things like that. We're not able to really get the emails from the community. There's no community email that is urgent from what a lot of us, in the community, day-to-day life. We look at the emails from the community more as like, hey, what's going on, things like that. So I think a survey would do a disservice to try and get a true result of
I think the subject line of the survey should say something about urgent survey, please respond by blah, blah, blah. See if we can flag it that way. I can't make people read their emails. You don't want me coming to your house, Joe. Yes?
Yeah, I would just comment that the purpose of this survey is a poll. And if you poll and get 10% of the total population, your margin of error is going to be pretty small. 10% is a good response for polling. It gives you a good idea of how the whole community feels.
Okay. Okay, so anybody else got anything else? Then I will call for the vote on a survey. All in favor on the board, please raise your hand. And against? Okay. Steve Merkovich was the only person that was against the idea. Otherwise, everyone voted in favor. Jody, did you get that?
Yes, I did. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, moving on. That was quite a lengthy discussion, valuable. So maybe we will be going for that 30-hour meeting. But let's not, okay? Okay. House Bill 2298. Do we have anything new on that right now, Karen?
We don't. We wanted to keep it on unfinished business because it's something we need to address in the near future.
Yeah,
So we're getting together all the information, and again, town hall surveys, important part to engage the community on that.
Okay, very good. New business. 2024 fall and 25 spring overseeding with the Westbrook Village Association, the golf course, and the sub-associations. So,
Okay, discussion at the landscape and facilities meeting, and our bylaws require that sub-associations and the golf course apply to us each year for any deviations from the established overseeing process. And in order to set the stage for that, although I think we received any formal requests yet, Karen?
We have from a couple sub-associations,
Okay,
yes.
so a couple of the sub-associations are on the ball and going after. The Landscape Facilities Committee recommends that due to the current shortage of seed and the continuing drought, the Westbrook Manfred Association, Golf Club, and sub-associations are granted a one-season 2024 fall and 2025 spring to forego overseeding of the common area turf, subject to architectural approval. Turf areas must be maintained in a neat and orderly manner. Any decision to overseed or not overseed may not supersede the golf club overseed agreement. All must submit a plan in writing advising the Westbrook Village Association of their plans for overseeding for the year. This may not supersede the golf course agreement. What that means in English is that we have had for many years an agreement with the golf club as to how they would proceed with overseeding. so as to be able to take advantage of economies of seed and water situation while not affecting the appearance of our community. And basically, this agreement requires the golf club to oversee any areas which border major roadways. And we have kept it to that agreement since 2006. That's correct.
So you made that motion, Mike?
Yes.
Yeah, I have a second on it.
I'll second.
That's Max Allen and Jody that seconded. Any discussion?
I just have a question.
Yes?
I'm looking at the minutes, and it's listing Karen Jones as the assistant manager.
I've been demoted. So these are the May meeting minutes for the landscape and facilities. We'll correct that in the June meeting. Yep, there's some other, there's duplicates in that motion at the bottom. So the landscape committee will approve and correct these.
We can't do that till next week when we have our meeting.
Yep.
Or either to demote her in the meantime, I don't know. As easy as.
Anything else? Then I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say, raise your hand, please. That was unanimous, Jody. Thank you. Item B, HVAC replacements. Karen, you want to tell us a little bit about that, or do Sean?
I'll start with it a little bit to give you the history. Sean will then talk about the units. So we worked with our reserve study. The reserve study and history was showing we might have 2 AC units that were nearing the end of their life. We budgeted 2 for the year. We've replaced 1 already, and now we have 3 failing. So we needed to bring it to the board because it's over the budget expense for the year. There are 3 units over at the Vistas that need to be replaced. A 5-ton, 2 5-tons and a 3-ton. We are putting in the trains. We met with the reserve studies 3 weeks ago. He is confirming that they are still, and still will like this, they're still doing the 12-year life expectancy on these units, and these units are 2011 and 2012 installation. So we're just getting to that 12-year life expectancy. I like to brag, we replaced the library AC last year in 2023, and it was 21 years old. So they don't build them like they used to. Sean?
I think we did everything. I mean, we have 3 units that are needing replacement, and the ballroom is one of the biggest rooms that's used over there in the Wilson Rec Center. I'd like to give them a place.
Okay. May I have a motion on this item, please?
I move we proceed with this and replace all 3.
Okay. For the sum of,
Yeah, we need to put
we have to put that in
the
our
company and the amount, please.
$28,885, $28,885.
By Sinclair Air. Bruce, will you accept that?
Yes.
Okay. So Bruce made that motion, Jody, and may I have a second, please?
Second.
Mike seconded it. All in favor, raise your hand, please. Okay, motion passed unanimously, Jody.
I don't think Tim raised his hand.
No, I was waiting for you to ask them their opinion.
Pardon?
You're supposed to ask them to just have them
Does
decide.
anybody have a question about air conditioning? Yes.
Did we get any other bids, or is this our only bid?
This is the only bid that we got on this project because it's kind of an emergency replacement. So we have shopped our air conditioning companies, and Sinclair is at least, what would you guess, 20%? 20% less than,
I think it's more like
than the other ones we replaced last November, December. So,
Okay. So, Karen, did you want to change your vote in any way, or are you
No, but
voting?
now that you've asked them, we should ask for our vote.
Okay. All in favor, please raise your hand. So, okay, thank you very much, it was unanimous, Jody. Okay, item C, SDL, Service Direct Landscape Contract Renewal. We also talked about
Mike, do you want to start with it, or do you want Mike to talk about it?
Okay, well, I'll start off and jump in, please. We have had a 3-year contract, as you probably all know, with Service Direct Landscape, SDL. I think in general, we would all agree that we've been highly impressed and agreeable to the service that they have given us. And so we have gotten into the contract renewal point, and they submitted this contract renewal to us, I don't know, a month or so ago, Karen?
Yeah, a few months ago.
Yeah, and so we've had plenty of time to go over it. It's basically a similar contract to what we've experienced in the past, with the expected increases in cost over the next 3 years. And I would, the total contract amount in the first year, next year, is $497,904. The second year will be $522,804. And the third year is $548,940. These are approximately 5% increases over our current rate. Is that right? It's a 15%, the first month is
The first year is
the first year is a 15% increase because they had no increases previous. And so we made up kind of the lost time. And now we're giving them 5% year over year. Everything else is pretty much as standard.
So to add to that, we had a 5-year contract with SDL. The first 3 years of that 5-year contract were a locked percentage. So they never raised our fees. The only reason we're looking at an updated contract now is that they cannot sustain at that expense that they signed a contract with us 3 years ago. We've all experienced the economy and the rising costs. So they originally came to me last year at budget season with a 25% increase. And I said, whoa, wait a minute. So went back, they came back with 15% this year, and as Mike said, 5% for the next 2 years. That's what was budgeted. That's what the budget committee recommended to the board and what they approved. So this is in line with the budget.
Okay, any questions from board members or comments on the contract?
Yeah, I'm just curious, it says it commences on May 1st, 2024, is that correct?
Sorry, May 1st, 2024.
Yes.
Yeah, so it would come in effect immediately?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Anything else? Anything else out here?
I guess I just have the same question again. Are we getting any of this? Are we just going with what's easy? Are we
No, we're not doing it because it's easy by far. That's why I prefaced this. We're already in a 5-year contract with them that we went out to bid for 3 years ago. So we wouldn't go out to bid in the middle of that 5-year contract. We will go out at the end of that 5 years. Or the end of the 6 years, if so be it.
So basically, you had options to renew.
Correct.
Just a comment, that's a lot of money. And they are doing a beautiful job, but I think if they know that we're getting other bids, maybe they'll not raise their price or make a better offer to us.
Well, I disagree.
No,
Because
that's fine.
we spent a year going out to bid,
Right.
and they're much more affordable than the other 4 that bid on our community.
Could be Yeah,
Yeah.
I just,
We should
I
go
didn't
out
realize
at
it was
least,
that much.
we should really go out every 5 years at a minimum for bid. Yeah.
My home landscape guys went up like 55% alone. So.
In the contract, do they put in there anywhere projected man hours per month type of thing, or is there?
Yes, they have a listing in here very specific as to the number of people